So your performance does not depend on how much you train. It depends on your self-concept, on the concept you have on yourself, but not on a logical and rational level. No, it's actually deeper. It's on the subconscious level. So what does that mean? How can we translate that? So your performance depends on how you feel about yourself. And how do we access to that? Because the mind is very tricky, and sometimes it just protects us from accessing to how we really feel about ourselves, right? How do we access to that? Very simple. By observing our self-talk, how we talk to ourselves, especially during the match or during the training. And your self-talk is super important because that is a very powerful tool that we use on a daily basis without really paying attention to it. And it actually reprograms our mind. And what our mind thinks shows up in how our body performs. So let's say, for example, when your mind says, I can't do that, the energy in your body contracts. But when you say to yourself, I've got this, and you actually add a gesture, your chemistry, your focus, your vibrational frequency goes up. Your vibrational frequency instantly shifts. So let's talk about this super powerful tool that we all have, and we are just misusing it, our mind. So there are 4 main ways to reprogram our minds. Repetition, so we're just repeating things over and over again. Experiencing something, so events. Sometimes we had events that change our perception, right? Then we have hypnosis, and that is very powerful when our brain waves are in the theta state, or alpha sometimes too. So it's more calm and relaxed, and that's when we can put anything in our mind and reprogram it. And then there are also quantum techniques that I use, but today we're going to focus on repetition. The quantum techniques are very powerful, but you really have to know how to use them, as well as hypnosis. That's what I do in my one-to-one sessions, right? So by using those things, the shift is very quick, but you need someone to help you with that. Now, if you want to start reprogramming your mind by using self-talk, for example, stay in this video because today you're going to learn a lot. So every word you repeat becomes part of who you are. Words are energy, and especially our superpower lies in 2 words, I am. When we use these 2 words together, that is a superpower that we have. Think about yourself. How do you normally use these 2 words? I am. So the subconscious is not logic. Our subconscious mind produces the 95% of our thoughts, if you haven't worked on your subconscious yet. And when you repeat something often enough, your brain wires into your nervous system. That means if you keep on repeating, for example, I'm always nervous before starting the game or starting the competition, you're literally programming your body to feel anxiety every single time. But if you start repeating, I'm calm, I'm sharp, I'm focused under pressure, your subconscious will start to believe that new reality as the new normal. And that becomes even more powerful if you do that when your brain waves are in theta, so like hypnosis, or when you wake up, for example, in the morning or before going to sleep. And if you add something else, like for example, either a gesture or you start to visualize it, but overall, you also want to do some deeper work and understand why that is happening. But that's what I do with my clients in my sessions. What you can do now is this practical exercise that I'm going to give you so that you can start to understand little by little, first of all, what's your self-concept, what's your real self-concept, and start to shift that. And adopt this little habit, the little by little, very slowly, but it will start to reprogram your mind in a way that's going to be useful and not in a way that is going to destroy your performance like you're probably doing now. And it's not, don't take it personal. We all do this. because we're not taught about this at school. So let's start. This is going to take 3 days. Let's start with day 1. In day 1, I want you to just shut up and observe. Observe your teammates. Listen how they talk about themselves. So you will notice that some of them will probably use words that empower themselves, and others are probably destroying their energy without realizing it. And then watch the result in their performance. Day 2, I want you to deeply observe yourself now. So spend the whole day observing yourself, your inner dialogue, your thoughts. What do you tell yourself after a mistake, or before a competition, or when you feel tired, for example? So day 2 is all about observing yourself. Day 1 is all about observing others. But now let's go to practice. Starting from day 3, you will start to reframe everything. How? Every time you catch yourself talking about yourself in a negative way, I just want you to stop and say, I cancel it. And then I want you to reframe it into a positive statement. For example, if you say to yourself, I can't miss it, just say, I'm focused, I'm ready. If you catch yourself saying, for example, I'm not strong enough, or I'm stupid, I want you to say, I cancel it, and reframe it with, my body gets stronger every day. I'm improving every single day. And never reframe it with a no. Why? Because the subconscious doesn't process negatives. So for example, if you say, I don't want to lose, your mind will just understand, I want to lose. So that's very important. So let's look at some examples of how to shift self-talk. So if you say, I can't do this, you can say, I'm learning how to master this. If you say, I always mess up under pressure, you can say, pressure activates my focus. If you say, I'm not good enough, you can say, I'm improving every single day. If it's an injury and you say, I will never go back at my level after this injury, then you can reframe it and say, my body is regenerating every day at the speed of light. If you catch yourself thinking or saying, I'm scared to fail, then you can reframe it and say, I'm open to learn through this challenge. One of my favorite examples when it comes to self-talk is Carlos Alcaraz. When he's in some difficult moment in a match, he says to himself, Carlitos, make magic. Carlitos, haz magia. Yeah? So he's talking to that part of him that is empowered. And the energy magically shifts. So by doing that, he's also not giving too much attention on mistakes, but he's giving more attention to that part of him because he knows it exists, that is able. Yeah. Something else that you can add is also some gesture. Body language is super important. Not just important, but it's very powerful. It's actually more powerful than verbal communication. For example, I'm just giving you a quick example. You put your hands like this, and when I say put your hands down, you will just put it. All right? So you just wait for me to tell you that. What have you done? Probably you put your hands down, right? So can you see how powerful body language is? Now you can use it to empower yourself too. So in NLP, for example, they teach you how when you stand like this, right? And you look up, for example, and you try to think negatively, it just doesn't work. Think about something that makes you feel very sad, it just doesn't work. And when you look down, for example, and you're trying to think about something that makes you feel very well, you just can't. Especially if you do this, yeah. So it's just the body, the position of the body, changes the way you feel. So while doing all the shifts, you can also use something that empowers you, a gesture, for example, like this. But I will give you more tricks in the next videos, and actually that's why I think you should subscribe, because every week I'm preparing content for you with tricks and things that will help you, to not just improve your performance, but start one program those layers that don't allow you to access to that potential, because we are all born with lots of potential, but we have been conditioned during years, through our also education system, unfortunately, and but just experiences that we lived, and how they condition us without noticing it. We have just built layers and layers that don't allow us to access to our potential. So this is the work you need to do, and it's not just about training your body and training techniques and so on. It's also about destroying those layers that don't allow you to access to fulfillment, especially, right? Because performance is all about that too. So now I want you to just take a deep breath, put your right hands on your heart, and take a few deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And just repeat with me: I trust my body, I trust my mind, I trust my energy. Feel that vibration expand through your body, and that's vibration of flow, vibration of energy, vibration of expansion, vibration of coherence and confidence. And remember that every repetition is a choice to who you want to become. So I hope this video helped you. Let me know in the comments, and if you're practicing, and if you want more, just join my quantum performance community on a WhatsApp group. You can join me also on Instagram, and remember to subscribe to this video to get more tips about performance on an energetic and mental level. I'll see you soon.